Hello, Internet, and welcome to episode 252 of Verbal Graffiti with your host, Brian Glass, a.k.a. the B-Man, the People's Degenerate. Happy 250th birthday plus 2 days to the United States of America. We're still all basking in the glow of old glory, the Yankee Doodles, whatever other American song or rhythm or chant there is. USA, USA, USA. The pledge, I pledge allegiance to America, all that. We're still at the beach. Maybe you were at the beach on the 4th of July. I wasn't. I was doing this. I was recording this episode because I care more about you. I care more about verbal graffiti than I do my fellow Americans. That's somewhat true, somewhat untrue. It's really dependent on whether you're willing to suck Mr. Perfect or not. But maybe you were at the beach. The 4th of July, the beach was packed. There were boats out where you can't see the ocean anymore, or whatever body of water you were at where there was beach and sand and pebbles. One time, I heard this third hand. Someone had told me that a priest had told her, what is hell? How long does hell last? And the priest told this babe. She might have not have been a babe yet when the priest told her this. She might have been a teenager, preteen. I think that's when I heard this little story. So the priest told this yet to be babe that heaven lasts as long as imagining taking every grain of sand in the world and tossing it away. That's how long hell lasts when you go there. So hopefully none of you go there. I'm not really sure why I just brought that up. But anyway, you were at the beach, not in hell. But maybe this was your own personal, real life hell being at the beach. It's the 4th of July. Like I just said, there are boats out there on the water. You don't make enough money to own a boat, and you're not cool, popular, social enough to be friendly with anybody who owns a boat. So therefore, you have no access to the boats and the babes in the hot bikinis that are on those boats on the body of water. Therefore, you're getting sand all over your hairy body on the beach. You brought a towel. You brought a little umbrella with you because you care about your skin. The sun doesn't care about your skin. You're very pale. You get freckles. You burn easily. The misgivings of being a white American on this 250th birthday celebration. The beach is packed. You can't really walk. You can't really enjoy laying down in the sun underneath your umbrella, because there's so many people to the left and the right of you. They got their Bluetooth speakers. Some are playing rap, which you don't really like. The people on the right of you are playing country. You don't really like that. All you want to listen to is Jimmy Eat World. We'll get to that. We will get to that. But nobody's playing Jimmy Eat World because their first album came out 25 years ago. Ain't nobody listens to them anymore, although some people do. So you're there, you're laying down on the beach. You're really not enjoying yourself because of all the noises. There's people playing frisbee. There's people jumping in the waves. There's kids running, digging holes. You see one father. Maybe he has 3, 4 kids. Maybe they're friends of his kids. They're burying the father in the sand, and he's up to his head. You can't see the rest of his body. This is going on over the course of, let's say, half an hour. You're watching it out of the corner of your eye because you have very good periphery vision. It's the only thing you have going with you in your life. You have a subpar job. You're underpaid, according to you, not to your employer. You don't have a babe. There's no one at the beach with you. Your family wants nothing to do with you, so they ain't at the beach. They went to another beach. They rented an Airbnb for the 4th of July. So you're at the beach alone. You have no kids of your own. So you're watching these other kids bury their father. And, for a half hour later, you see the father. He's up to his neck. And secretly, you kind of hope the kids bury his head under. And just so it would clear out the beach a little bit, so you could get a little bit more space to yourself on this public beach. Because again, you're underpaid. You don't make enough money to attend a private beach on the 4th of July, America's birthday. And so you're hoping the kids will bury his head, bury him alive, hoping the father will die. The paramedics will come. They'll put up the yellow, caution tape. This is a crime scene, and it will shut down the celebration that everybody's having around you, that you're partaking in, but you're having no fun in this celebration. It doesn't happen, though, because the mother is right beside the kids, and she's not going to allow her children to commit murder on the 4th of July. Although you don't know, she is secretly hoping that her kids bury her husband, their father, alive as well, because he's got a big beer belly. He's got tattoos on his arm that are faded. He hasn't eaten out. He hasn't munched on that sniz since Valentine's Day, which was 4, 5, 6 months ago. How many months are there in a year? Who cares? You're at the beach. Nobody's talking to you. All right, the only entertainment you're really partaking in is that death, that slow-paced murder that you're hoping that takes place in the sand. That's not going to take place. That's the only entertainment you have. You brought a family-sized bag of Lay's potato chips. You put them in a bowl. You would offer them to anybody who asked, just so you could have someone to talk to for a few minutes, so you wouldn't feel so awkward on this beach alone, yet surrounded by 3,000 strangers that are friendly and libacious and festive. And you're trying to put up the appearance of being festive because you got a bag of potato chips. You have a couple cocktails. We're not going to name what brands because we're not sponsored by them. And so we're not going to give any free advertisements here at Verbal Graffiti, episode 252. We celebrated our 250th celebration 2 episodes prior. Go check that out. I wore a bathrobe during that episode. The internet was loud and clear and direct to me, saying, we don't like you, B-Man, in a bathrobe on the internet. Never do that again. I can't promise I never will, but for the foreseeable future, at least the next 50 episodes, I will not wear a bathrobe here at Verbal Graffiti. I can promise you that, unless I forget. But it's not about me. It's about America. It's about you, the loser, the dweeb, the nerd, the lollipop, alone on the beach, surrounded by all these people having fun, conversations, listening to music, eating their bags of chips, drinking their libations. You smell a little whiff of blueberry, raspberry, a lot of fruits, but none of it's fruit. It's all vape pen. It's all nicotine. It's all things you don't know what's going to do to the inside of you, but you're taking it in secondhand. And mixed with that is some marijuana. Someone smoking a doobie right near you, to your left, to your right, all over, because it's kind of legal now. So you're getting secondhand doobie smoke. You're getting the fruity vape smoke. And you don't even smoke. So you're getting a little congested. You're sweating. Yeah, because it's 87 degrees and humid out, as it usually is on the 4th of July here in America. You decide to go for a walk. Your sandal, it breaks halfway, let's say a quarter mile down the beach, down the coastline. So you take the other sandal off. The sand is hot. It burns the bottom of your feet. You feel that the next 3 days. You're feeling that right now as you listen to this episode of Verbal Graffiti. I feel for you because I burnt the bottom of my feet. I'm a white guy. I usually wear sneakers or shoes or socks. I'm not used to hot pavement or hot sand. So whenever my feet are touching something hot, they burn. And you had to walk over a half a mile in that hot, burning, sun-drenched sand. You see firecrackers. It's not even sunset yet, and they're laying off firecrackers. Why are you wasting your money? It's a miserable experience for you. You're questioning, why did I come to the beach alone on the 4th of July? Why did I think this would be fun? I thought it, so first, you have, let's say, what age are you? You're 36 years old. Right? You're 36 years old. You know you're antisocial. You're not autistic, although a lot of people, a lot of loved ones in your life question whether that you might have autism or a bit of autism. They've even brought this up to your face. So you know when you're not there, they laugh about you having autism, but you're not diagnosed with autism. You don't go out of your way to be antisocial. You're just not a social guy. And you don't like to read books either because you're not an intellectual. That's the worst type of antisocial person there is an antisocial person who's not intellectual either. So they take no joy in people or reading literature. It's a life of misery. For some reason, though, you thought you'd go to the beach on the 4th of July. And although you're not very talented or outgoing enough to start conversations and be friendly with people for an afternoon, to get invited to a group for a party, for a bonfire, for a drink, for a cocktail, for a game of beer pong, or an ice luge out on someone's boat, maybe go paddle boarding, something, fishing. You thought, for some weird reason, which you now are questioning yourself at the beach. Why did I think I'd come to this beach on the 4th of July alone as an antisocial person, thinking that I would be the center of attention, that everybody would want my bag of potato chips, Lay's branded potato chips, that people would offer me to their tent for a drink, to talk about sports, to shoot the shit, to talk about the greatness, the love, the admiration that we all have for America. You're wearing America. You really thought that when you came to the beach this morning wearing an American flag bathing suit, that would be a conversation starter for you. Well, you're such a dum-dum that you didn't realize, or maybe you did, and you just pushed it out of your head, that it's the 4th of July, and everybody's wearing something American flag related. So you're basically inside a game of Where's Waldo at this beach on the 4th of July. So even then people were trying to bring outsiders, loners into their group to make everybody feel welcome for this celebration. You're lost in the sea of America, of the flag, the red, white, and blue. So you go home. You go home early on the 4th of July. You leave the beach 7 p.m. Although you were under an umbrella most of the afternoon, you still got a sunburn on your shoulders. That's going to burn. That's going to peel. That's going to feel miserable 2 days from now in the office on that Zoom call with the manager that you despise. You didn't really do much work on the 2nd and the 3rd of July. And now that you have to go back in 2 days, you're going to have to catch up on the work that you were lackadaisical with the 2 days before the big holiday, the 4th of July, on a weekend. Are you kidding me? And it's all hitting you on the drive home. Of course, you hit traffic. Right? You're praying you don't get hit by a drunk driver. Thankfully, nobody's driving over 25 miles an hour. But it is a holiday. Everyone you saw at the beach who was of age, some of the underage people as well. It seemed like there was a lot of cocktails being had. A lot of mugs that probably weren't just iced tea or lemonade. It was probably a mixed drink, and the decibel level was loud. So you're driving home. You're praying you don't get hit by a drunk driver. You get home to your 2-bedroom apartment. You don't own it. You rent. Again, you're underpaid. You can't afford rent in the Northeast. Or nope. Sorry, you can't afford homeownership in the Northeast or really anywhere else in the United States that's worth living. So you have a roommate that you met from your previous job. You don't love the guy. It's actually a babe. You do love her. You would throw it in her if she would allow you to, but she will not allow you to do that. So this is a certain torture chamber that you live in. You have a roommate. That's a babe. You're a guy. You're a John. You love to fuck her. You love to feel the inside of her sniz. You've heard her fuck in the other room because your bedroom walls are adjacent to each other. So you've been hearing her get railed the last 4 days, and nights and evenings and early mornings by some American, all-American, 3-star athlete in high school. He played D2 lacrosse. So you know he's the fuck boy of all the fuck boys. And he does the fucking in your apartment that you pay half the rent for. But you get home to your apartment and they're not there because they're out celebrating the 4th of July. You're finally some peace and quiet. You're on the couch. You're watching... What are you watching on the 4th of July? You're watching Band of Brothers, HBO. It's on, you pay for HBO, whatever it's called, HBO or Max, whatever it is, you have it. You're watching the first few. You'll fall asleep on the couch. You wake up. It's 11 p.m. You go to bed. And about 11:45, you're woken up to the sound of that all-American, the next room over, ravaging your roommate that you desire from your previous employer, that when you two work together. And they fuck until 4 in the morning. They do 5-hour fuck sess on the 4th of July into the 5th of July. They might fuck straight into America's 251st birthday. That's the veracity with which this all-American fucks your roommate that you want to fuck. But you've never fucked her. You've just heard her fuck a lot. And this particular fuck is very loud because it's a 250th birthday fuck. Imagine if you made it to 250 and you and your country could fuck. That's where we saw. It feels like an earthquake's going down in your room. You have some Funko Pops on your wall. They've fallen off. Not the first time because of how your roommate gets fucked. What bothers you worst is not the hearing of fuck, but you smell sparklers. All right, coming from their room underneath your door to your bedroom. You love sparklers. Of all the things in the world, you would love to fuck your roommate. But you would have been satisfied lighting off sparklers on the balcony with your roommate when she came home. But no, you bought those sparklers to share with your roommate this weekend, the 4th of July. And that greedy bitch of a roommate that always pays her rent late, and you've had to cover for her, she always pays you back, right? She is even with you, but you do have to cover her, and she gets back to you late because she's a babe. And babes don't have accountability, but she is accountable, and she does get the money to you when she gets the money somehow. You question her means of how she makes money now because she's unemployed, and she too is 34 years old. But that's not for this discussion. You're angry. You don't know what to be more angry at. You can't sleep because the wall, boom, 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 boom. She's screaming. He sounds like an all-American athlete. He could be in the WWE. Ric Flair. Woo! That's the kind of noises he's making in that room that you wish you could be in. But even that, how are they doing that fucking? And also laying off sparklers. That seems like a fire hazard. I hope you have renter's insurance. because there might be a fire very soon in this apartment. I'd gather all my belongings if I were you and leave. But this is a past tense event. Thankfully, your apartment did not burn down. And that's your life. That is your life on the 4th of July. Or maybe it was your life. No fucking. No new friends at the beach. The sparklers you bought to share with your roommate that you're secretly in love with, she used with her boy toy as they fucked, keeping you awake. And you didn't even get to enjoy the Sunday, July 5th, before going back to the drudgery that is your office or whatever job, whatever way it is you make money. But the way you make money is above board. You pay taxes. You're miserable doing it. Maybe not miserable, but you're not happy. All right, moving forward. We will have to talk about Jimmy Eat World next episode. That's a little tease in the radio business they call that, but this ain't radio. Moving forward. All right, this comes from the subreddit Women. Ooh, he watched porn jerking off while I sleep next to him. ... I've been catching my BF, that stands for boyfriend, I believe, watching porn, hentai, right next to me in bed for the past couple of nights while I'm asleep, and it's quite literally so uncomfortable and gross. ... He doesn't know that I know, and I don't think I would tell him, but I was wondering if any other women have experienced this, ? Times 3. There's an edit. Thank you all so much for the support and insights. I'm still in a stunned state due to the vile nature of this situation, along with the disrespect and hurt I've been experiencing is overwhelming. I will give an update when I can, but I just have to process first. Thank you again. I have a feeling in my ballsack you're not going to be thanking me when the B-man gives you the response. I didn't read what all the women on the women subreddit gave you, what their responses were to you. I didn't read their responses. Right? Their responses are wrong. The B-man, I'm going to give it to you straight. And you're not going to like it, but you need to hear this. Why are you thinking about yourself? Sorry, there was a long pause there. I know what I'm going to say. It's a tone, the tone in which I want to come at you with. Because I want to help you. I want to save your relationship with you and your loving, affectionate boyfriend. Right? We just had an opening, 20 minutes, about the 4th of July. Right? We're in July. This is the peak of the year, of America, of the season. I want to be happy. I want to live in the glow of the White House, of the Lincoln Memorial, right? Of Gettysburg, of Tower 1, whatever they call that in New York now, that replaced the Twin Towers, which were an atrocity of New York City. Not the 9/11, the buildings collapsing. The buildings themselves, erect, were horrendous buildings. They were an eyesore for the city. There's 2 towers. I'm not glad people died, but I'm glad those buildings got knocked down and replaced with whatever it's called now. What am I talking about that? I don't know, on this episode. I'm just saying, I'm trying to keep things festive here. Oh, and I hear you complaining about the vile acts of your boyfriend. All I can fester is, why are you thinking about yourself? See, what you are, you're a greedy witch. You're a narcissist. you're self-consuming. You never gave any thought to your boyfriend and why he's masturbating beside you in bed. Right? You roll over, you play possum, you pretend you're asleep, and then while you listen to your boyfriend watch pornography on his phone, hopefully an iPhone, and hentai porn. And you're probably watching it as well, and that's why you know it's hentai and not just regular human beings getting the deed done on whatever he's watching it on. I wish you gave us more detail. Of course you did not. But I'm here. I'm here to chastise you. You're a terrible girlfriend. You're a terrible human being. You're self-centered. You really don't. You really haven't thought about this. And that's what perturbs me the most. Instead of asking, why is my boyfriend, my boy toy, my future husband, the father of my children, which he'll probably be, right? Instead of going to him, or instead of doing some self-analysis, hey, why is my boyfriend, why is he jerking off to porn beside me in bed while he thinks I'm sleeping when I'm actually playing possum? Why is he doing that? Instead of pondering that question and what the answer to that question may be, you run to Reddit. You scurry to Reddit. You go to your fellow lady, right, to the women's subreddit, and you tell you tattle on your boy toy. And you do so to garner support from all the other miserable babes on Reddit, on this subreddit. Because let me tell you, if you're looking at the women subreddit, you're a miserable lady. I'm not saying you're a terrible person. I'm just saying you're not happy. You're not a festive person. You're somebody, you're not a joy to be with at the party. If you're typing and responding to the woman subreddit, right? But the obvious answer, I'm sure none of the women, none of the babes on this subreddit gave you. The reason why your boyfriend's jerking off beside you in bed when he thinks you're sleeping is because you didn't drain his balls before he went to sleep, before you went to sleep. So he was tasked with the responsibility of taking care of himself because you would not, as his loving girlfriend. That is the answer. That is the only answer. If you had drained your loving boyfriend's balls before you had rolled over and fell asleep for the evening, he wouldn't have had to look at porn or hentai in the bed. Have you ever given that any thought? Have you ever given any thought to his needs instead of his vile acts, which are not vile at all? They're not. They're honestly not. Honestly, I'll make the claim, the argument that what your boyfriend did was honorable, was chivalrous. Right? This was Victorian England behavior. So many Johns, right, don't get sucked off by their girlfriend or their lover before she falls asleep. And what those Johns do is they just they go to the bathroom, they gently close the door so you don't hear them, and they spend 45 minutes in the lights off in the bathroom, over the bathroom stall, wanking their pedestrian wiener to whatever smut they get their nut to, because they're certainly not getting their nut from you. And but your boyfriend doesn't do that because he has respect for himself, his body, his sperm. Right? Jerking off onto a toilet or into a toilet while your girlfriend is in the master bedroom sleeping because she wouldn't suck you off, that's John behavior. Right? That's vile activity. That's somebody who doesn't have respect for themselves. Right? There are a lot of guys, a lot of Johns out there. Right? When their girlfriend says, no, not tonight, whatever excuse. I'm not sexually attracted to you anymore. I'm tired. A long day at work, the kids. I got fucked earlier by the ball, by my side piece, whatever her excuse is. There are a lot of guys who will not wait for their girlfriend to fall asleep before they pull their phone out and start wanking themselves. Plenty of guys I know. Their girlfriend will be watching Love Island or doom scrolling on Instagram or TikTok or whatever, or reading a book. And as she's doing her activity, the guy, he's jerking off right beside her. That's a bit rude. That's a bit inconvenient. A hand up. There was a time to be man. I like to sleep alone. So I usually don't sleep. If I'm fucking, which I'm not right now, I'm not fucking. And there's no fucking going on with the B-man. I'm a fuck boy that doesn't fuck right now. But there wasn't. So a lot of times we do the fucking, and then I leave or she leaves. There was a time though where I was having a phone call with this babe. At the time we were fucking. They not in the moment, but they were on the phone, and she was yelling at me for something I did or I didn't do. And yeah. She was yapping. Probably similar to the lady in this post, like her that type of personality. That she comes with that type of heat, not taking any accountability for her actions. But after a while, I just stopped listening. I heard her voice, which I was attracted to her voice. So what I did, it started wanking myself on the phone as she was yelling at me for whatever it is I did or did not do correctly. And after about 30 seconds, I start making some moaning noises and some wanking noises. And she heard me go, "What are you doing? B-man, what are you doing?" I go, "Are you touching yourself right now?" I go, "Yeah, I am." And then she started touching herself, and we ended up having phone sex, and it was great. So honestly, I don't know why I just told you that. I'm just here to tell you that there are guys who will act more brash and brazenly than your boyfriend did. At least your boyfriend waited till he thought you were asleep to start taking care of his own needs that you should have taken care of for him. I mean, honestly, why do you have this guy as your boyfriend if you're not going to suck him off before he goes to bed? If you're not going to drain his balls while you're in bed together before you go to bed, why do you have him as your boyfriend? That's the question the B-man and all of us here at Verbal Graffiti ask you. And I think it's a fair question to ask. And it's a question you need to answer. And what the problem, or the double problem with this is, you said you're not going to bring this up to your boyfriend? You're not going to tell your boyfriend that you caught him. And I'm not even, I don't even like the word caught him, because that's an implication that he did something wrong, and he did not. Right? You failed your job as a girlfriend to drain your boyfriend's balls before he fell asleep. Now, if you guys had separate houses or apartments or you weren't in the same bed, fine. But if you're in the same bed and you're not draining your boyfriend's balls, sucking the semen out of his pee hole before he starts to snore, you can't blame him when he starts wanking off, whether it's beside you or in the bathroom or downstairs on the couch. He has needs. You didn't fulfill him. Right? You didn't drain him of those needs, literally. So, but you're going to compound one wrong with another wrong. The first wrong is you should have drained his ball sack. Right? But the second mistake you're going to make is not tell your boyfriend that I don't like the word caught, you happen to see him or hear him listening to smut beside you. Now I ask you, why are you not going to bring that up to him? All right, you're compounding the wrong with another wrong. Do know that couples that share their porn history and habits together is a couple that will last long together. They'll live a happy, loving life. And you're not going to do that. You're going to hide this information from him. And what's the benefit of that? Just so you could talk shit about him on the internet? Get into group text and call your boyfriend his behavior's vile to all your girlfriends? Nothing good's going to come of that. It's just going to lead to anger, festering, and there's going to be a blow up, and then he's no longer going to be your boyfriend. And then you're going to have nobody to complain about. And that's going to make you miserable. Because that's why you like having a boyfriend, so you could have somebody to complain about to the people you really care about in your life. I say, you should approach the topic the next morning, the next night, whenever, but sooner than later, and tell your boyfriend, confess, hey, I saw you watching porn. I know you thought I was asleep, but I wasn't. I heard you watching porn. And then have an open conversation about what porn, what smut your boy toy likes. Ask him what kind of smut he was listening or watching. Therefore, you can use that information. You find out what your boyfriend's kinks are. You find out what turns him on, what gets him off, what's able to drain his ball sack. And then you can acquiesce and maybe play along with whatever porn, smut, kink that he's into. But right now, you're blind. All you know is he watches porn. Some of it is hentai, which is concerning. To be man, I don't fuck with hentai porn because I am of the belief once you start watching hentai, very soon you will no longer be attracted to human beings. Hentai is a gateway to an erection that cannot be had with human beings, and then you're just kind of fucked. Right? I don't. Once you go into hentai, I am convinced that you become a pedophile, and I don't want that. B-man, if I'm watching a smut, and then the lady smiles and I find out that she has braces, instantly I turn the video off. Yeah, she could be 25 with braces, but I do know that braces are supposed to imply that she's younger than she is. So nope. I don't want any part of that. Hentai, braces, anything animated. Nope. I just X out, find of age, this normal smut, so that I can perform with real babes and with myself. So try to wean your boy. Obviously, if that's all your boy toy can get off to is his hentai porn, well, then you got to kick him to the curb. Well, if he has not regular, but if the other porn he was watching was human beings and with babes, like, you need to know what it is that he gets off to. Because right now, you're in the blind to that. So you're not fulfilling your boyfriend's sexual needs, his fantasies, his wants. And you're failing your duties as his lover, as his girlfriend. Right? And you don't seem to want to engage and learn that information. You're going to keep this quiet. You're not going to tell your boyfriend. You're not going to talk about pornography. All right? About this, well, whatever it is he's into. You don't even have, you have no, what's a fun word? You're not inquisitive about what your boyfriend likes sexually, what his porn habits are. If you're not interested in that, learning about that, and you just want to make him feel terrible, like he's a vile human being for looking at smut. Well, honey, if you ain't draining his balls each night, that's the only option he has. He'd either watch smut when he thinks you're asleep or go out and get some sniz on the side. So which would you prefer? Which would you prefer? Right? You can tell your boy toy, I don't like you looking at porn. I don't want you looking at porn when I'm in the house, when I'm in bed with you. Well, he's with you because he's probably attracted to you. So when you're in bed with him, when you're in the house with him, he's all horned up. All he wants to do is fuck. All he wants to do is drain his balls down your throat. But you won't allow him to do that because, I don't know. For some reason, you won't fuck him. So then you can tell him not to jerk off, but when he's with you, he's all horned up. So he's gonna jerk off, or he's gonna go get sniz elsewhere if he's a Chad, if he's able to do so. So you got to engage in an open dialogue without without judgment. Now, you could judge him secretly, but you can't judge him openly. Listen to what he says, what he likes, and I guarantee you, if you're able to have an adult conversation where the both of you are open about what you like, what you desire sexually, you'll have a loving, more committed, faithful, happy relationship. Right? He'll go from being a boy toy to a lover. Because right now he's neither. And both of you are miserable. So you gotta shape up. Stop listening to the other babes in this subreddit and listen to the B-Man. Go suck a fat one.